Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Rwandans, fellow Congolese, and members of the international community. My name is Michael Mupende. Today I'll talk about Kagame's defiance, his refusal to withdraw the support for M23, and also the refusal of removing his troops from the Congo. And we look at the continued consequences of his actions. The Rwandan people are quietly paying for Kagame's crimes. Prices of items have hiked. People have no money in their pockets. The salaries of government employees have missed for a couple of months since sanctions began. And this is just the beginning. Recently, the European Union was urged to impose more sanctions on Rwanda over Kagame's support for M23 and his role in the wars that are happening in the DR Congo. Among the cases cited are Kagame's gross violations of human rights, including the death of millions of people, as well as war crimes committed both in Rwanda and the DRC over the past 30 years. I always point at Paul Kagame, and I do so intentionally because I know all of these problems revolve around him. If it were not for Kagame, Rwanda, Congo, and the region would be at peace. Today, I once again speak on behalf of the millions of people who continue to perish in the Democratic Republic of Congo because of these wars. I speak in the name of those who continue to die, those living in fear, those who have been displaced, those living as refugees in the region and everywhere, and all those who continue to suffer oppression in Rwanda, the DRC, and throughout the Great Lakes region. The suffering attributed to none other than the Rwanda's ruler, Paul Kagame. For more than 3 decades, the DRC has endured war and chaos. Countless civilians have lost their lives, while many have remained beyond the reach of humanitarian assistance for an extended period of time. This conflict has claimed more lives than almost any other recent conflict in the world. Millions of innocent civilians have lost their lives. Millions have been displaced, and countless families continue to live under violence, insecurity, and exploitation. Reports published by the United Nations experts, together with international human rights organizations, have repeatedly reported that Rwanda supports and leads the M23 movement in every aspect. Kagame's government has consistently denied their role for many years, even though he later came to agree. Meanwhile, the people of Eastern Congo continue to suffer immensely, making urgent international intervention necessary. The sanctions already imposed on Rwanda are not sufficient, for Kagame remains unmoved. He continues to use meetings such as the Unity Club gatherings, the leadership retreats, and the RPF political bureau meetings to persuade Rwandans that the entire world has turned against them. But that's not the case. Meanwhile, Kagame, his family, and those around him continue to enjoy the wealth they have accumulated over the years. The Rwandan people should help the international community by refusing to listen to this dictator and by turning their backs on him. Members of the armed forces should refuse to continue dying in vain, just as some senior generals have already refused. We must not ignore the innocent members of Rwanda's armed forces who have long been victims themselves, but whose suffering is rarely acknowledged. For decades, Rwandan soldiers have been sent to die in wars of plunder and regional destabilization. Their families continue to mourn. Widows have become numerous, and countless children have been orphaned. This must come to an end, and Rwandans themselves should openly condemn it. What Kagame continues to do during these repeated meetings is to hurl insults, to curse and spread accusations on all those opposed to his actions. More especially nowadays, insults are hurled against the United States of America and all other individuals trying, advising him to stop the violation. During his meetings, he condemns the Western powers, despite the fact that those same countries help him reach even where he has gotten today. Kagame is just reckless and he demonstrates loss of judgment. History witnessed similar behavior during the final days of dictators such as Muammar Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein, when they repeatedly blamed foreign powers for their problems while attempting to rally their citizens against the international community. But in the end, it did not save them. Their own citizens eventually did what they had to do. Rwandans can do it too. You can free yourselves from dictatorship without necessarily waiting for the outside intervention. Many young Rwandans joined the military believing they are serving and protecting their own country. Yet countless Rwandan families live in fear and despair because their children are sent to fight and die in Congo, a war of violence and plunder that they never chose or fully understand. Those soldiers also deserve our compassion. They are sons and daughters of parents. They are husbands. They are fathers. They are brothers. And they are ordinary citizens who should never be turned into instruments of Kagame's endless regional wars, wars in which Kagame does not seem to send even one of his own children because they are soldiers, while others continue to die every day. That is why our concern must extend not only to the innocent Congolese civilians who have suffered for years because of this war, but also to the Rwandan soldiers who continue to bear the consequences of Kagame's decisions. The prolonged insecurity in eastern DRC has not only harmed the Congolese people, but has destabilized the entire Great Lakes region. Refugee crisis, insecurity, economic decline, mistrust among neighboring countries, and recurring wars have prevented the region from achieving its potential for economic growth, regional integration, and prosperity. The East African community only exists in words alone. It cannot function properly amid the continued instability, which has been fueled by Kagame, whose actions have brought suffering upon both Rwandans and the wider region. Peace cannot exist where war has become a way of life. Development cannot flourish among people who live in constant fear. Justice cannot exist without accountability, especially when the individual responsible is a dictator who has turned Rwanda into a hostage of his crimes. Numerous international organizations have documented and published serious reports of human rights abuses committed in Rwanda and the DRC over the past 3 decades. Survivors of these tragedies continue to call for justice and protection. No leader should be above the international law. No leader should escape accountability for the atrocities committed over so many years. No victim should be ever forgotten. For that reason, I call upon the following organizations to take decisive action to stop and hold Paul Kagame and his government accountable for their continued role in fueling and supporting the wars that have devastated Congo and Rwanda. I call upon the United Nations, the European Union, the African Union, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, Canada, and all other nations committed to protecting peace, defending human rights, upholding international humanitarian law, protecting civilians, and ensuring that every individual found responsible for war crimes or crimes against humanity, regardless of their position or nationality, are held accountable through internationally recognized legal mechanisms. I also call upon the international community to intensify efforts toward achieving a lasting political solution that fully respects the sovereignty of the Republic of Congo, and also to condemn the dictatorship in Rwanda that has been there for 32 years, and to help build a lasting peace among all the peoples of the Great Lakes region. Every citizen deserves freedom, justice, accountability, and a government that serves the interests of its own people while living peacefully with its neighbors. History teaches us that lasting peace is never built through dictatorship. Rather, it is built through justice, respect for human rights, and good governance. Thank you all for listening, and may God bless you. Take care.